Hello, I'm talking to you. This is Goddess of Science Biology, and I'm Mrs. Bolvin, and today we're going to talk about evidence for evolution. This is the second part of the evidence series that I'm doing. Today we're going to talk about embryology and biochemistry. So, comparative embryology. An embryo, if you don't know, is a very, very early stage of development of any organism. And it's long been known that very early stages of embryos of many species have very similar structures. For example, you would never confuse a fish with a human being, but in the very early stages of development, humans actually have gill slits. They eventually go away, and we breathe with lungs, obviously, but in the embryonic stage, you actually had gills, much like a fish does. So we're going to play a little game. I'm going to show you pictures of four different embryos, and you're going to see if you can figure out which one's the human. So we got a chicken, a human, a salamander, and an ape. So from looking at these, they all look kind of similar, but maybe one of them looks kind of like a human to you. Take a guess. I'm going to show you a little bit later stage in development. We have this stage where they all kind of look like little round balls of multiple cells. Which one looks like the human there? Still a little later, we have some other development going on. Which one of these could possibly be the human? Next to the last set, again, a little bit further along in the development, which one could possibly be the human? A, B, C, or D? And then now, even later in the development, we have the four embryos. Which one could possibly be the human? Which one's the ape? Which one's the chicken? Which one's the salamander? As you can see from the last stage, that D is in fact the human, but notice how similar D and B look pretty much through the process here. But you would never mistake a human for a chicken, but there you go. So these embryological structures are very, very similar in multiple species because they had a common ancestor at one point. The next thing we're going to talk about today is comparative biochemistry. Biochemistry, if you don't know, is just all the different chemical reactions that happen in a living organism. And they have found out with a lot of DNA analysis that if a couple of organisms have a recent common ancestor, both species are going to have some biochemical similarities. They'll have a really large percent of their DNA and RNA, which are the nucleic acids found in the nucleus of cells. They're the things that hold the genetic information that get passed on to the next generation. Large percentage of them are going to be the same. And because DNA makes RNA, which make protein made out of amino acid, the amino acid sequences are going to be very, very similar if they had a recent common ancestor. So you and potentially an ape of some sort would have very, very similar, more than 95% of your DNA would be the same. But species that are a little further apart had their common ancestor further in the past, they would have more of their DNA be unlike the other. So more closely related, more similar the sequences are going to be. That's it for this time. Next time we're going to talk about some more evidence of evolution, structural adaptation, rapid physiological change, and morphological adaptations. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.